Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Give you an extra show because we're getting close to fantasy football season and we have not spent enough time talking about auction values or anything really to that nature just yet. So today we're going to review the Flex Draft Auction Half PPR League. You can find the complete draft result in the description of this podcast or video if you want to follow along. But we go over the top 30 players off the board, some strategy, and the Athletics' Chris Meaney is in studio to break down his team.
What up?
Your team sucks.
This is, I know why you brought me, 101, what not to do during an auction.
As I told you,
as
someone who's received a lot of like Yahoo pre-draft grades of D+ and won the league,
Yeah.
sometimes the worst drafts are the best drafts.
Yeah, you know, I don't love my team for the most part. You should come out of an auction liking your team. I mean, you get guys who you want for the most part. You're not going to bid on a guy you really don't want.
You get the guys that you want.
You
That's
get the
the whole
guys that
point
you
of the
want.
auction.
That's the whole point. But, I think I probably have like a pretty solid balance, but I don't, as we'll get into it, my big takeaway for me was I was a little hesitant on the number one wideouts.
That's what I want to talk about here. But first, I need to tell people, hey, do you want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks? Who wouldn't? So here's what you do. You smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Tell me which player you would pay the most for in an auction. And in a salary cap of $200, which this one is, how much would you pay for that particular player? Is it Saquon Barkley for $79? Probably not. It's probably a bit too much. But hey, it could be what you want. Whoever it is, top price guy, how much you'd pay, boom. Or rate, review, subscribe. Pat Mayo Experience, 5-star review on iTunes. We're almost at 2,000. We need to get there before the beginning of the football season. Then I'll have some extra giveaways for people. Leave your DraftKings handle. Say something nice about the show. I like reading nice things about myself. And follow me on Instagram to heart one of the football photos. Leave your DraftKings handle. Boom, you're in the draw as well.
Easy peasy.
Winners announced every Monday. I want to get up to 5K Instagram followers before
Nice.
I just started taking Instagram seriously.
I was gonna say you just because when I met you, you never had Instagram.
No,
you recently just got it.
I got it on my honeymoon like 2 years ago, but I never used it.
Okay.
And I was just like, you know what? I monetize everything else. I might as well at least try to monetize my Instagram.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the videos. I mean, you're all over every golf course. You know, I was watching the second cut, the fescue. I mean, I enjoy that. That's what I'm here for. I want to see it.
I would like to do that at all the tournaments. Like, you get me out there, be like, here's what I would want to know, so I'll report on that because no one else is reporting on that.
Nobody is. No, and that's stuff you want to see.
All right, let's get into your team. I guess I'll just list it off in order.
See your face, you're so disgusted.
David
jokes.
Montgomery, $20. Looking like a better pick today than it was when you made it.
Might be the steal of the draft.
Might be the steal. DraftKings Metcalf, $3.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, $15. Marlon Mack, $29. Pennsylvania, $5. Adam, you've got a Thielen, your most expensive player, $30.
Yeah.
Who else you got here? Dante Moncrief for $6, Cooper Kupp for $18, Mark Ingram, good God, man, $24, Sammy Watkins, $19. That could be a steal, or it could be the worst pick of all time. But we'll see. Chargers D for $1, Carlos Hyde for $8. I like that. Kiki before he got hurt, $9. Herndon suspended 4 games, $1. Jack Doyle, $1. Raquel Armstead, you're backing up Leonard Fournette, huh?
Yeah.
Although you don't have him.
I don't have Fournette, but at the end, I have a few shares of Armstead. I mean, what do we know about Fournette is that he's a troublemaker.
You spent $5 on Armstead. You left money on the table.
I know. So this was the experience. I've done a few auctions before, but nothing with
in person is different.
In person is different. With these guys, I have a ton of respect for. They've done it a few times. Very thankful for the experience and Jake bringing me on. I had a blast. And I knew most people were going to take a stars and scrubs approach, and I thought to myself that I was going to be a little patient. I left this draft kicking myself for not. I like my backs. I have 2 or 3 there that I think could be RB1s. And I know one guy you don't like, whatever. I like him.
You think Mark Ingram could be an RB1?
I think he could be a borderline RB1.
He has the better chance of scoring -3 fantasy points this year than being a running back one. Come on.
I can't sit here and tell you
he sucks so much.
Well, he was a borderline RB1 with the Saints a couple years ago.
When he
on
played
a
for
per
the
game,
Saints.
He's on a team that wants to run the ball more than anybody else in football, plus he can catch. So I'm not going to come here and defend Mark Ingram. I think he's solid. But Montgomery, I think, could be an RB1. Marlon Mack, I think, can be an RB1. Latavius, I think, has a little bit of value. This isn't a full PPR,
it's half
league.
point.
It's a half point. He's not going to catch a few balls, but Kamara's not going to be that guy.
Latavius Murray outscores Mark Ingram this year. Even if Kamara never goes down.
I think they're both fine. I think they're both going to be good backs this year. But my biggest regret and takeaway, and I got into a couple battles, one with Corey, I think it was Julio. Actually, it was Rich. I got into a Julio battle with him, I believe, that I didn't end up getting. And then over with Mike Evans, who actually, looking at it at the end of the day, Mike Evans is somebody that I really wanted to target. And I feel like for $38, he went to Chad Parsons. I think that's pretty good value for the rest of the wide receivers we're going. So I knew right away as I was missing out on some of these top wideouts that I had to take some upside guys like a Cooper Kupp,
And
like
Metcalf,
a Metcalf went early. I thought, $3 is all right for him for a guy who could second targets. But the big one was Sammy, and I'm not in on Sammy this year.
Were you trying to price enforce? What happened?
No, I got it at that point in the draft. There wasn't a lot of high upside wide receivers that I needed to get him, and a couple people were in on him as well.
You had
so
to roll
I
the
knew
dice.
that I had to roll the dice. Yeah, so I overshot over budget. By the time I got towards the end, I had $11 to get Armstead, so I knew I was going to get him no matter what. But I definitely could have. Looking back, I could have been a bit more aggressive on the wideouts. I'm fine without taking any of those top backs. I'm all right with that because, like I said, there's some running backs that I like with some value.
So,
But the wide receivers, I needed another stud wide.
well, see, I think that's the whole thing here. Like Thielen, you can make a case for being a wide receiver one, but he's not one of those elite guys, like the
Right.
elite 8. The fact that you didn't end up with one of the elite running backs and without the elite receivers, and you left money on the table, that's where it comes down. Like you, just based on how your team looks, I'm not sure what the nomination order was for this necessarily.
Well, right in order like that. So Mike was first, Chad was second. James.
No, but I'm not sure. Like, was David Montgomery? He wasn't the fourth guy put on.
Oh, no. That was
the
just the first guy that I got.
Exactly. So it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But like, I usually do pretty well at auctions, taking a strategy like Van Riper from The Athletic. He did this. Looks like Corey Parson did it a little bit.
Yeah.
Even Pat Thorman did it as well. And we kind of get into the highest priced players is that you don't necessarily need to go stars and scrubs, but I think you need to be aggressive early because people want to take the approach, well, I don't want to spend all my money because what's the back end of my team going to look like? But 5-6 guys from your team, you're going to cut and replace with guys from the waiver wire anyway. So you almost have to budget that in that I can spend the extra $2-3 on these top end guys because they're worth it.
For sure.
And then you don't get into a situation where you're paying $19 for Sammy Watkins in a bidding war because the 4 other people.
Yeah.
And you have to read the room on this stuff, and no auction is going to be different. But if a lot of people are saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pass on these top tier guys, save my budget, and get into the second level. And then you end up overpaying for the second level, and then you have all this money left over that the bidding war starts going. Like Cooper Kupp for 18, Sammy Watkins for 19. Like those aren't bad prices for those guys.
Yeah.
But it seems like in a different world, they go $11 and $10. You know what I mean?
They probably do.
But 4 guys ended up with too much money. And like, well, these are the only 2 guys that are left.
For sure. There was a point in the draft right around that point where it seemed like Mike, Chad, and myself were in that same kind of range. Now, they did have a couple studs. Like Mike has James Conner. Really, that's the only first-round talent he has on his team. And I knew that going in towards the end that I was going to be battling with some wide receivers with him, and I was going to be battling with Chad for a couple wide receivers. But looking back on it, you probably want a top 8. But I do feel like Thielen is a wide receiver 1. I feel like halfway through the year last year, we were talking about Adam Thielen as maybe wide receiver 1 off the board.
Yeah. Oh, no, listen, I'm not sitting here saying that I think you're going to come last in this league. You could definitely win this league. You make
you never know.
You make one well-timed pickup.
I'm going to have to be aggressive on the waiver wire.
All of a sudden, your team looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be aggressive on the waiver wire.
Or you make a trade, do whatever. But like, I don't know. I'm always in... People are cowards, and that's generally how people are. Even stuff like fantasy football drafts.
Yeah.
I would think that Corey Parson, not a coward.
Right.
So like, I feel like he would just go at like whatever he wanted to get. Like, if I'm going to get, who's his highest price guy? Zeke or David Johnson? Who's his highest?
No, his highest price guy may be Nick Chubb.
Yeah, so Chubb, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, Stefan Diggs. Those were his 3 big buys. So he actually played the same strategy you did. He kind of, I thought that he just would have been all. No, I know he loves Zeke, but I guess the holdout is scared of him.
Yeah. It did. And I was in on Zeke too, and I thought I was going to get him with Pat. We were kind of back and forth. I was up to $55, and then I was like, okay, well, that's it. I'm not going to go that high with Zeke. But Corey kind of took the same approach, and we were battling, back and forth. In fact, people were in the room, like a couple chirps, like, Corey and Meaney, you got to spend your money. Chris, you can't bring this money back to Canada, right, with you? I'm like, well, it's worth more.
Yeah, it's good exchange rate.
So I need it. But so I did shy away from, I don't know what it is. There's a few backs I'm just hesitant to grab, like David Johnson and Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon really, for that price, it seems like it's okay. But
yeah, Melvin Gordon went for $30.
He did go for 30.
Like
yeah.
I think that's a spot where I would gamble too.
Yeah.
But then did he end up with Eckler or He had Justin Jackson for $4.
Yeah.
Not having Eckler's kind of iffy, but if Gordon doesn't play, Justin Jackson will outperform the $4. He might not
For
be
sure.
a $30 player, but at least you have something to piece together.
I think Derek's team is certainly the most interesting. I mean, he could win the league or he can come dead last with guys like Barkley, Bell, Gurley, and Antonio Brown. And in fact, what happened in the room was Antonio Brown wasn't nominated, and we had heard the news. Somebody had said, "Listen, he's going to see a foot specialist." 2 seconds later, Antonio Brown is on the board.
Is the foot specialist Rex Ryan?
Yeah, might be. So we're all just like,
that
wow,
all good
what?
for
We
you.
didn't know, right? We hadn't heard anything. This was before he tweeted the picture of his feet, so we didn't know. And I was in on Brown too, as a guy that, you know, in another show we talked about could potentially lead the league in targets. Volume there, why not? At $28,
$28
it could be the steal, or we could find out that
I think for $28,
worth it.
if he doesn't play a game, I would, because you don't know.
You just don't know.
Let's say he starts week 1, he's a $45 player. If he doesn't play, he's a $0 player.
Yeah,
So I
at
think
that
if
point,
you
it's
middle
worth
it,
it.
28's fine.
And that's where I
worth
should
the
have been a
risk.
little bit more aggressive too at that point in the draft. Like Derek had probably bought 5 of the first 8 guys off the board.
Yeah, so
right?
he bought Barkley for 57, Le'Veon Bell for 44, and Todd Gurley for 38, and Antonio Brown for 20. And he has Aaron Rodgers for $10.
for $10.
And like, I don't like
Which
the
is a
rest.
slight overpay.
I don't like the rest of his team, obviously, because the rest of your team's not going to be any good if you spend all your money on those guys. But it's another situation where you hope to get lucky with 1 or 2 of your $1 guys. You got
Yep.
Browns D for $1, Funches for 6, Traquan for 1, Sanders for 4, James Washington for 4, Kyle Rudolph for 1, Anthony Miller for 2, Jimmy Graham for 1, Powell for 1, Quadre Olison. You know, what if Freeman gets hurt and Ito Smith's not the guy?
Absolutely, yeah.
Then you got yourself another. He has enough running backs.
He
But
does, yeah.
there's trade bait. Antonio Callaway, although it does look like Higgins might end up being the third guy there. But you need one, realistically, of those guys to be a wide receiver 3 for you.
Yeah.
You can make a trade, you make a decent pickup, you hope Gurley's not hurt, and it's the flex league, so you can play all 3 of those running backs.
Well, I mean, go look at Chad. I mean, I don't want to rip anyone's team. He's got a solid team, but I mean, this guy left the draft with 4 wide receivers. Like, he's probably going to have to.
He's going to need to make a
He's
pickup.
going to need to make a pickup
But,
or make a
but
trade. Or,
you only have to play 2 wide receivers in this league if you want to. You can play 4 running backs
Yes.
or 2 tight ends.
yes,
With the way that everything works, everyone's basically a flex. That you can construct your team in weird ways if you want to.
you can. Yeah.
But you feel like you're always going to be able to pick up a running back over a receiver.
Sure.
I feel like.
Yeah. Again, looking back at this team, my one true regret was Julio and Evans. Like, those were the 2 guys that I was like, you know what? I have to get these guys because all these other wideouts are gone. Like, it would, and I didn't get them. I wasn't aggressive enough on Mike Evans in particular, where I had to, like, Thielen is mine. Like, I was thinking in my head, like, well, I have to get this guy. I need at least 1 top 10 wide receiver before I leave this draft.
Well, and that's I think where people make their biggest mistakes at the auction. Like, Adam Thielen is a great player, but now you put yourself into a position where you had
spend up to get him.
You're like, oh, he's the last guy on this tier.
Yeah.
That's why having stuff in tiers really works out well.
It does.
You just kind of cross them off. You're like, oh, there's Evans and Thielen left. I think that Evans is better than Thielen. It's worth the extra $5 on Mike Evans rather
sure.
than the extra $4 on Thielen.
Yeah.
Knowing I have to get, and if I start getting bid up in that spot, now I really have to overpay. You put
really
yourself in that position. So
Yeah.
working off tiers, I think, is really good. And just early in the draft, like whenever you get a top 10 player on the board and they come up early, it's worth overpaying by $5 or $6. Whatever you think the overpay is, go $3 after that.
Yeah.
And you'll be happier with your team at the end, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you should
Not
be
in all
because-
situations, but
yeah, I've always, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm a coward. I've
maybe
always,
you are.
I've
it's
always,
a Canadian in you, man. You're
I've
just trying to be
always
nice.
taken that approach, to be honest with you. I've always taken that balanced approach because there's usually guys that, and on the flip side, when I say this, it's like, well, you can afford to grab a couple guys up at the top and then spend, because there are a couple guys that, you know, you like a little bit later. Like, for example, Carlos Hyde.
You fell into a fantasy baseball auction mentality.
Yeah, like
Because how you played this football is exactly how like you should play baseball.
yeah,
You spend up for like 7 really tier 2, tier 3 guys.
yeah.
Because you have to play fucking 40 guys on a fantasy baseball team. At least with this, like if you do the stars and scrubs approach, like everyone's playing to win.
Yeah.
So if you're not first, you're last. Basically, you're Ricky Bobby.
I feel like I'm going to compete though. feel like I'm gonna be
I
fine.
definitely think you will too. But like I look at Van Riper's team. If Barkley, Bell, and Gurley are all 3 of those guys are
He'll
good,
win the league.
the rest of the team doesn't need to be good.
Yeah,
because he's
no.
just running away with it.
Yeah, for sure. He'll win the league.
But he could be
Absolutely.
one injury and he's dead last.
Yeah, and that's
But that's how you have to play it.
That's
though.
the approach. Yeah, that's the stars and scrubs approach, and that's what I knew most people were going to do. And yeah, you look at his team; he is the high upside, or it's high risk, high reward. Yeah, absolutely. If Gurley Gurley and AB don't play all year, he sucks. He's dead last. But if they play, he's fine.
Did Nando get laughed out of the room when he spent $50 on Odell?
We all kind of went, whoa.
Guess he really wanted Odell.
He really wanted Odell. That was a lengthy back and forth.
No.
That was very interesting. I think out of all the wide receivers that are going early, he could be the bust.
He could be the best. He could be the bust. Like I don't extra love or extra hate Beckham.
Yeah.
He's
new situation, new
he's
quarterback.
like Julio. He's
rookie
like
coach,
Juju.
basically new offensive.
He's one of those
It's
guys.
a lot of news for Beckham. Plus, he's hasn't been able to stay on the field lately.
He went $7 more than DeAndre Hopkins,
I know,
which is crazy.
yeah, it is.
I mean, I looked over all these teams, and I don't like saying this at all. And maybe now that Damian Williams isn't a running back by committee, it's not so bad.
Yeah,
But Jake's team looks really good. He spent he didn't have to overpay for any of the getting Devontae Adams for $43.
mm-hmm.
It's a good price.
It is a good price. Yeah, well, considering when like you said, you match them, you pair them up with a guy like Odell Beckham.
Let's go over
the price.
Let's go over all the top guys. So we have Zeke, McCaffrey, Kamara, and Barkley all went for $57 on the dot. It's nuts.
Yeah, they all did. And as I said, I was in on Zeke. I'm not totally worried. I think that, like I said to you on another show, I believe Dallas will do what they can to get Zeke. And Jerry Jones has done this before back in the day with Emmitt Smith, and he held out. They started the season 0-2, and they went and he was the highest paid running back in football. So I think Zeke will hang around. But yeah, I mean, that's the price you're going to pay for all these guys. I like Kamara. I'm a little hesitant. I was a little hesitant, to be honest, to spend that kind of money on a guy like McCaffrey and Kamara. I'm fine with Zeke at that price. I'm fine with Barkley at that price. But those two with Kamara and McCaffrey,
I think Kamara and McCaffrey are.
You think they're just fine?
I think
Kamara's a guy that I just feel like
he's so good.
He is good, but they want to run the ball.
Sure, but they will run it with him.
They'll run it with Latavius too.
Sure,
Latavius will get about 10 carries a game.
But they run it enough that it doesn't make a difference. And if Latavius we saw this when Ingram missed the first 4 games because he's a cheater.
Yeah.
Last year, taking steroids, that Kamara was the best player in fantasy.
He was. Yeah.
So
he got wore down and he was hurt, because maybe he got worked too much.
Sure, potentially. I mean,
there's a chance. I mean, we're splitting hairs at the top
I mean,
guys here. They're all top guys for a reason.
He had 17 catches in one game. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
And then Drew Brees scored the 2 touchdowns at the end. Yeah, in week 3. Yeah. But one thing you do need to watch out for is Elliott goes for 57. Who was the first one of these guys to actually get nominated?
You remember? It's probably Barkley.
So Barkley sets the standard. Barkley.
It went high running backs. Hopkins was probably the 8th guy. It was literally all backs. It was Barkley, and then McCaffrey, Kamara, Zeke, and then Chubb was nominated. So it went in Bell. It was all Gurley. It was heavy backs. And then finally it's hey guys, there's wide receivers available. Let's throw in DeAndre Hopkins on that.
Well, it does seem like the second tier running backs ended up as better values because the price ended up 57 for the top 4 guys, and David Johnson was at 50 as well to Rich Rebar. So after that, then you get your Julios, your Beckhams, Juju Smith, DeAndre Hopkins, all in that 50 to 46. Then you got Adams and Le'Veon Bell. But Bell at 44. Mm-hmm. Where else? Oh, I skipped a page here. Bell at 44, Connor at 42, Dalvin Cook at 39, Gurley at 38, Chubb at 35, and Mixon at 35. Comparative value to 57 for McCaffrey. That could be fine because McCaffrey could be so much better. But if I see Mixon at 35 and Le'Veon Bell at 44, I don't feel like that's a $10 difference.
No, I know. And that was the thing. Everyone spent up on these top backs, and there was a little bit of value there with some other guys like Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon. I think there's good value. I mean, going back to Jake's team, he just spent on Adams. I mean, I honestly, there's a reason why these guys went so cheap. I mean, I think everybody is a little cautious with Damian Williams. I think that's a fair price, $24. Maybe not now today, hearing news about, it's going to be a running back by committee. It's a fair price for Jacobs, but Drake, I want nothing really to do with. I get it. There's value in Eckler for 9, Drake for 13.
Brandon Cooks for 19.
Brandon Cooks for 19.
You got Watkins for 19. He got Cooks for 19.
That's a big mismatch when you compare the two.
Yeah, I would say that Cooks has a 65% chance of outscoring Sammy Watkins this year. Maybe
Yeah.
70% chance.
Yeah.
But
if you give Sammy Watkins 16 games,
then all of a sudden you're looking great.
that's the
I-
huge question mark.
When you assess these things, especially in relative terms of like value and dollars,
Yeah.
like you still have to factor out the range of outcomes. Like,
Yeah.
what if Cooks get hurt? Then he's not worth $19.
Right.
And no one can know that.
No one. No.
And if,
you're
like you said,
just
if Sammy Watkins is healthy,
it's a
all of a
huge-
sudden it's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge risk. So I probably have a couple running backs that I could maybe deal. Like maybe Carlos Hyde comes out of the gate hot. Maybe that's somebody I deal. Like there's things that certainly could happen, but I would like to have a stud wide out, and that's kind of where I dropped the ball.
So Kelsey went for $34.
Mhm.
He was the highest priced tight end. Ertz went for 20. I was trying to find Kittle. I couldn't find him.
Kittle went for $21 to Esser.
So see, I love Travis Kelsey this year. So I think Travis Kelsey should be on the level of some of the second tier wide receivers. So
Yeah,
I think
so high.
he's around Antonio Brown. I think that he's around. I think he's a
Probably
better.
Thielen.
I think he's better than Thielen. I think he's better than T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Hilton went for $1 more than he did.
Yeah.
That's still not knowing where Andrew Luck is coming down.
Right.
And even at the time, you didn't know where Andrew Luck was coming down. But
Yeah.
like Tyreek Hill for 40. If you take in positional value, like $6 more for Hill over Kelsey, but then if you tell me that Ertz goes for 20 and Kittle goes for 21, like I think I like Kittle at 21 a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that's funny how that works out.
It is funny how that works out. You're right. I mean, just the balance between the two. Kittle and Ertz, I figured they would go right around the same range. I think we'll see a downtick from both, to be honest with
But
you. This
I
season,
still
but you probably
prefer,
won't from Kelsey.
I prefer Kittle
Yeah,
over Ertz.
yeah,
I think Ertz is
it's
closer
pretty
to
close.
I think Ertz is closer to Ingram than Kittle this year.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
At
there's
least
a
for
lot of
the-
options in Philly, but we're also going to see a lot more options in San Fran this year. I mean, Kittle's not going to get the same kind of target share. I mean, there was times where he was just the only guy to pass the ball to.
Who do you think
in
the
San
most
Fran.
egregiously bought? Is it Odell Beckham for 50?
$50 is a little extreme. I mean, that's the one thing about the auction. If you like a guy, you like him. You go get him. You be aggressive at the start, and you grab him. I think that was a little extreme.
Was he
but
the first receiver up? Because
no.
see that seems even crazier
Yeah.
to me. 'Cause knowing that
Oh, yeah.
Julio went for 49, Juju went for 47, Hopkins 46, Adams 43, Michael Thomas
Julio
43.
was later on, but all those guys that you're mentioning all went before Beckham.
So was Beckham the last of the quote unquote
Yeah,
elite
Beckham was
receivers?
the last of the crew. Antonio went after him, but he was after Thielen went, or Tyreek Hill went before him. Juju went before him. I think Keenan Allen may have gone before him. So yeah, it was Beckham was kind of that last. Although Evans was later too, but Beckham was kind of that last top 5-7 wide receiver that went.
See, I would much rather have like Keenan Allen for 29 is a really good buy. Comparative to where everyone else went. That's just either it broke down in a weird way.
See, I think I put them right. I put Thielen and
Yeah,
Allen on the same page.
I think Allen's a little bit better, but maybe Mike Williams take the step forward. Like you'd have to flip a coin to me for
And
me
Hunter
to tell you
Henry's back too.
with Thielen and Diggs both going for 30. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's a legitimate coin flip of who's better this year. They could both be good.
Yeah, they both could. I think Thielen's a little bit safer. I mean, playing in the slot potentially, but they're both good. They're both very similar. That's why you see them side by side in rankings. I mean, they both come off the board back
Yeah.
to back, basically.
It's the good version of the Rams situation because you got Cooper Kupp,
yeah.
who very well could be the best receiver, but he could be on a pitch count.
Yeah, so he little hesitant with him too, Cooper Kupp. I mean, I love Cooper Kupp. I've liked him right out of, since year one. I saw the connection with him and Goff, but
He killed it for our team that
He
we have
did.
together.
yeah,
till he got
and
hurt.
he's been pretty damn solid since day one. It's just now there's a little bit of concern with the knee. I've seen multiple reports that that he could be close to full go, 100% healthy, and then I've seen reports that maybe they keep him on a pitch count all year, which obviously is really concerning. But I would need guy like Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins to be what I expect. I need them to be full go playing all year. I need a guy like Moncrief to step up, be that number 2 option in the Pittsburgh offense. These are guys that
Yeah, and it looks like Moncrief has the inside track on that job, and that's very valuable. And
Chance.
that hurts Van Riper's team too because he ended up taking James Washington.
with
So
yeah.
you need to win that battle. But like you pay $18 for Cooper Kupp, you pay $19 for Sammy Watkins. In order for your team to be like really, really good, Montgomery, you need to outperform his $20 price tag and be like a $35, $40 running back. That's very doable.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack just needs to be a $29 player
Yeah.
like you paid for him. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
and that's perfect. Thielen for $30, be a $30 player.
Yeah.
With like, you just need to win on the margins a little bit. Like, I mean, Mark Ingram's a big zero, so that sucks. That hurts your team.
It's crazy. I think from a per game standpoint, of the last 3 years, he's been top 10 running back.
You have fun with him, Mark Ingram. See how many championships he wins you.
He's
Cooper
already
Cup
won me a couple.
an $18 Cooper Cup needs to be a $25, like be a $25 player. Sammy Watkins needs to be a $25 player. Herndon, I think, could be an absolute steal here for you.
Yeah,
For a buck, you have to wait the 4 games.
I have to wait the 4 games. I'll plug in Jack Doyle for
Which is
the
fine.
first
You can
4
play Jack.
games, which is fine. Yeah, I need him to be fine. I mean, I didn't know that Jake was going to draft 4 tight ends. So he kind of
Did he really?
Well, you got 3. You got Vance
Andrews.
Walker, and Andrews. So he had 3, and he was kind of whispering side by side, whispering like, "What are you gonna do with tight end?" I'm like, I just circled Herndon. I'm like, I'll just do Herndon. I'll figure it out. Right? He's like, oh yeah, not a bad call. Where did Robert Woods go? Because we were just talking about Cooks for $19, Cooper for 18, and then there's Robert Woods, who I believe was a value. It'll probably take me a little bit to find him, but I think he was cheaper than the trio, and he may be the safest. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but he was pretty consistent last year in that offense. He was great. I can't seem to find him right now.
Here's a nice buy.
Oh, $17. So they all kind of went around the same range.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a bit of an overpay, but I like Kenny Galladay this year.
I like Kenny Galladay too.
Esser got him for 24. It seems like it should be a little bit less, but
no,
that's fine.
Yeah, he could turn out to be like a $35 value. Like he could be borderline wide receiver 1 this year.
Where did Corey Davis go? Because we were talking about Corey Davis on the other show. If you can get him for like $4 or $5,
yeah,
that just makes a lot of sense to me.
I think he went a little bit
more than that. Dion Lewis, $6.
Oh, Corey Davis, $11 to Chad Parsons.
That's a fair value for him.
Yeah.
DJ Moore for 16.
Moore was a guy I was in on too. I was a little hesitant.
Chad's team is, I mean, it's Melvin Gordon contingent because he spent $30 on Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
But $30 for Melvin Gordon, 38 for Evans, 22 for Devonta Freeman.
I think that was a good price for Freeman, 22.
30 for Carry-On, 16 for DJ Moore, 11 for Corey Davis, 10 for Will Fuller, 15 for Kalen Balaj.
Yeah.
Jake got Kenyon Drake for cheaper than Kalen Balaj went for.
That was talked about immediately after
that's
it happened.
Weird. That could be fine.
In that draft, I think you have to go back and double check. I think Balaj went ahead of Drake in the snake draft.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here's a nice buy. Rich Rebar, Julian Edelman, $17.
Great buy.
That's a really good buy.
I like his team the best, to be honest with you. I mean, Kamara and DJ is a solid 1-2 punch.
He has your most hated Elshon and my second most hated
but at
Jared
$8,
Cook.
But at $8, Elshon is. I was kind of kicking myself. I was like,
how does
$8?
How does
like,
Pettis go for 10 and Elshon goes for 8?
And it was only Rich and I in on Elshon, and I'm not crazy about Elshon, but things change in an auction. It's not where you have to draft somebody in the second, third round. So for Elshon, there was a point where he was going for 5. And I was like, no, 6. Like, come on, we're not letting you get Elshon. And it was like, really, guys? Like, oh, I dropped the ball on Elshon. But yeah, Kamara and DJ is a great 1-2 punch. I mean, Edelman is a safe, solid 1. He's got upside guys in Pettis and Kirk, who I like. Marvin Jones gets no respect. Breida could turn out to be something. Jameis Winston is a guy that, maybe he'll start from time to time.
He got Winston for $1 and Drew Brees for $3. That's, I mean, the way that he allocated his spending makes the most sense of any team.
Darwin Thompson, the cheaper version of Carlos Hyde for $7 cheaper.
But Rebar goes Kamara and David Johnson, 57 and 50. So obviously he spent a lot of his money early, but he passed on that whole second tier and just made, like you said, value. Elshon 8, Pettis 10, Edelman 17, and he got Lamar Miller for $10 too, which is perfect.
I know, an absolute
Christian Kirk
steal.
13, Marvin Jones 10. He only needs, of the 6 receivers he drafted, he only really needs 3 of them to be good.
Yeah.
And he didn't do this soup if Van Riper, Barkley, Bell, and Gurley, it's a spend up. If you just don't take Gurley for 38 and allocate that $38 into better after Antonio Brown receivers, his team, I think, would be the best. If he had got the kind of value that Rich got for his receivers, I think that's the optimal way you would want to do your draft.
Yeah, and I think if you ask Derek, and I know he said this, was also sitting beside him, sandwiched in between Jake and Derek, was, I think Rodgers may have been the first quarterback off the board. $10. And then seeing later on, Carson Wentz for $5.
What did Mahomes go for? I can't find him here.
Cheaper than that.
So Rodgers was the most expensive quarterback at $10?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I have to double check here with Mahomes. I don't know who has him. Just rolling through. So yeah, I mean, Rodgers 10. Oh, Watson's 12. Carson Wentz is 5, Baker Mayfield 6, Kyler Murray 5, Andrew Luck 10, Mahomes is 17. Sorry,
17.
Dan. So that's
I think I like Rodgers for 10 better than Mahomes at
Me
17.
too. Me too. You're saving yourself some money. But then with Corey, I mean, he got the 2 quarterbacks. I don't think he wanted Cam. He nominated Cam, and then he was just kind of stuck with him. He said Cam for $4. Nobody said anything else.
That's a great buy.
So it was great. But I mean, he had already got Matt Ryan, just before that. But whatever. You have 2 solid
I think
quarterbacks.
Cam's a better play than Matt Ryan is this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible.
Like if Cam's, like I mentioned with Cam, where he has that difficult schedule to start the year, Matt Ryan actually has a really easy schedule to start the year. So you play Matt Ryan for 5 weeks, flip Matt Ryan, or just start Cam afterwards, and all of a sudden you're looking good.
For sure.
So what are the really nice buys here? What did Carson go for, Chris Carson?
$17. I thought that was a pretty good buy. Robbie Anderson down there for $8.
James White for 11, even in a half point is fine.
This is a great buy. Continuing to look through some teams. Deion Lewis for $6 is not a bad price. Paris Campbell for $2. I think there's some upside there. I think there's some upside there.
I don't know about that. Robbie Anderson for 8 is really nice.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson for 8 is a solid one. Shepard for 8. Jake got him for 8 is a solid one too.
I kind of like Mike Tozzi's team here. Ertz for 20.
He won this last year.
Connor for 42. Tevin Coleman for 11. That's looking better by the day.
Yeah.
Royce Freeman for 8 is a very good gamble for $8. Russell Wilson for 3. Amari Cooper for 26.
Yeah.
Lockett for 18. Chris Carson for 17. Robbie Anderson for 8. Jarvis Landry for 16 could be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Jalen Samuels for 7.
Some upside there with Sean Jackson. I mean, Foreman, that was a whatever, but he got cut a week later. And that was a surprise. I think that actually got cut the following day.
Oh, well,
that's a surprise.
Now he's your Marlon Mack backup.
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, apparently that guy is just
a head case.
Yeah, he's got some issues. So yeah, he's got a solid team. I mean, looking across the board, it's going to be stiff competition with everyone. But I would give Rich number 1, and Jim McCormick doesn't have a bad squad either with Kelsey, Hopkins, and Watson.
He has the double points with Hopkins and Watson.
He's got that.
Mixon.
Robert Woods. I was surprised that he wanted anything to do with Nelson Aguilar. He nominated him.
It's a buck.
Yeah, it's a buck, but I didn't understand how early he.
So yeah, he goes. So his starting quarterback is Watson. His receivers are DeAndre Hopkins for 46, Robert Woods for 17, and Mike Williams for 15.
Yep.
That's 3 top. I mean, it's the best receiver and 2 other top 25-ish guys.
Yeah.
Mixon and Aaron Jones is your starting backfield. That's fine because Travis Kelce's his tight end. Like that. Yeah, it's a really good starting lineup.
Yeah, those are the 2 teams that stand out. And you don't know those guys. You got a buck. Hines and Thompson. Those guys they pan out for him. PPR or
Marquise Goodwin for a buck. But Deion Lewis for 6
is a good price.
I would buy that. I'd actually probably pay more.
Yeah, that's a good price. Moving along just from left to right. I mean, Anthony Miller for 2. I mean, Derek was so strapped he had to get guys, but Anthony Miller for $2 towards the end is
but he also spent on the best running backs.
Yeah, he did. Jake got his boy Boykin for $1. Deshaun Hamilton for $4. I mean, it would have been $1 if Jake tried to get him because he loves him, but Nando ended up getting him.
Yeah, Nando's back end receivers, like the $50 on Beckham.
Like 9 wideouts, yeah.
But like Evan Ingram before like the Tate suspension, the Sterling Shepard news, $16 is a fair price for him. Baker for 6 is fine.
Yeah.
I don't love Fournette for 30.
And I don't like AJ for 17 either. I was surprised. The room seemed to want AJ, but there's been mixed reports. I read that they're hoping to get him back by the halfway point.
Yeah,
it's a hard stash to do.
I had Dr. Jesse Morse on the show last week, and he was just like, just don't draft him.
Yeah,
like if he falls like the 9th round, draft him. But like,
sure, but
don't go out of your way to go get him. Yeah. But like DD for 6, excellent buy. Allen Robinson for 14, don't mind that. Adrian Peterson for 5, why not? That's a guy who could be a starting running back.
Sure.
Your boy, Terrell Williams, 4.
Yeah, I think that was a good buy.
Larry Fitz, 4.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's some high-end upside there with those wideouts. But yeah, his running backs, I mean, he could be in a tough spot. I mean, Leonard Fournette, Phillip Lindsay is not a target of mine. Ronald Jones is a question mark, but for $4.
Where did Peyton Barber go? Or did he go?
Yeah, he did go.
Did he go for more or less than Ronald Jones? Peyton Barber's $6.
Yeah,
I'd much rather have Peyton Barber. Going into the season.
Yeah.
Esser is a running back away from having a really good squad here. So he paid $57 for McCaffrey. So that's one. That solves a lot of your running back problems because the rest of his running backs are Geis for 11, Shady for 6, Ito Smith for $1, Jamal Williams for $1.
Yeah.
But he has Kittle for 21, Luck for 10, Michael Thomas for 43, Galladay for 24, Calvin Ridley for 16. That's
he
fine.
might. And that's a guy I'm probably have to trade with. Here you go.
That's
Here's
a very
running back.
That is a
Hook me
very
up with some
logical
wide
trade partner.
receivers.
So you should be trading. Let's see here. Carlos Hyde. He has too many.
Just trade Hyde to Jake and just get Godwin and something.
I don't know.
Something else for Godwin.
I don't know if he would give you just Hyde for guys.
No, he wouldn't. It's something else too. I said.
Let's see. You get
And give him another tight end. Herndon.
Hey, he needs 4.
Yeah, hopefully Kiki Kuti's all right because I really need him to be all right.
Yeah.
Like I really need him
Early
to
reports say
be something.
2 weeks, but it's ankle. If it's high ankle, he's
If
kinda,
it's high
he's kinda
ankle,
screwed.
he's kind of screwed for 6 weeks. But you notice I'll have a lot of slot guys, right, with Thielen and Cup, and
That's not a
and
bad
KT.
angle to play though. Just
Yeah.
pick up on slot guy. Even a half point, that's fine.
Yeah.
Pat Thorman's team. Let's go over this very briefly here. I love Pat. Pat's the best.
Oh, Pat is the best. It was, it was so good to draft these guys.
Yeah.
A lot of them I hadn't, met before. Rich is such a stand-up dude, and Pat as well. Like those, I was big fans of both those guys.
Nando, Esser, and Corey are basically the best hangs you can have in fantasy.
Yeah.
So just hanging with them is great.
It felt like Nando just wanted to get the auction. He was the first one done. He just wanted to get it over with right away.
Go slam
That's
some
what it
beers.
and just go slam some beers. Yeah, it was great. Towards the end, like he just was Williams, Deshaun, Larry's. I'm done.
So Pat Thorman's with Establish the Run now. That's Pat Levitan and Evan Silva's new sites. Everyone should go check that out.
what
But
a
he does the best pace stats.
Yeah.
Anyone in the business. So shout out to Pat for that one. But 57 on Zeke, so he ain't scared.
No, not at all.
So he
Which
has-
made me feel good about Zeke. Actually.
Yeah, smart guy taking Zeke. Here we go. So he got Zeke for 57. Also in the backfield, he has Dalvin Cook for 39. Daryl Henderson for 8. 8's a decent buy there.
It is.
To tell you the truth.
It could be very Kamara and Ingram like from last year with those two.
And then he has Mike Davis for $3 and Dexter Williams as his running back, like backups.
Yeah.
Hoping to roll the dice there. Juju, John Brown, who I love John Brown.
And for $2.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry for $2. Marcus Valdez Scantling
I
for
like
7.
him too.
Curtis Samuel for 7.
Also
Andy
like him.
Isabella for 2. Like that's patchwork, but at the high end, you're good
Yeah.
with Juju.
The one question mark, I was surprised that he went for $7 is Josh Gordon. I mean, Jake's putting him into the program, and he's like not even like, oh, he's not on the board. But for $7, I mean, it didn't seem like anybody else was interested.
Did he nominate him at $7?
No, he was nominated, and then somebody else bumped it up, and then it went for a couple. Like it
Well,
seemed like at
obvious-
first he was just going to get him for $1.
I was gonna say, obviously you could have bought him for $7, but you had no interest.
I had no interest.
Okay.
No.
I've been down that road a lot of times.
Yeah.
He also has Hunter Henry for $11. Dak is
Goodbye.
his running back, or is his
And Dexter
quarterback.
Williams could turn out to be something too in Green Bay. Right now, it seems like everybody is hurt. But I mean, he could, pass catching running back and Aaron Rodgers' offense. He could be all right. Catch a few balls.
In conclusion, as it pertains to auction, I guess my biggest tip for auction strategy would be don't get stuck with money on the table, which means be aggressive early.
Yep.
If you have to overpay, make sure you overpay for really good guys.
Yep.
Don't get trapped into the situation where you're in a, like, I guess Robert Woods at 17 is fine, but
Yeah.
like
I mean, you can go back to Sammy. 19.
Sony Michel for $19, like
Yeah.
that's a bit much.
It
And that seems like a spot where he either went a bit early or, hey, this is the last guy on the tier. I need to get a running back right now. I'm going to spend the extra $5 on Sony Michel, and when he should have went for like 12, I would have rather spent 62 on McCaffrey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
So just make sure you pile up 2 or 3 good guys in that spot.
I would say that too. Yeah. After doing this draft, be aggressive. Get the guys that you want. Again, I knew I was going to take this balanced approach, but if I could go back, I would spend a little bit more on trying to get a guy like Mike Evans or Julio, a stud. Like
stud
a
receiver, yeah. Just
stud
upgrade
rider.
that core a little bit
Yeah.
more. Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
This was fun.
Well,
I'm sorry I was
We'll report back.
I'm sorry it seemed like we were just being in a negative.
No,
on
it's
your team.
okay. In fact, I had a feeling that was going to come anyways, especially when I had Mark Ingram on my team.
Well, I mean,
when you're looking at all the teams,
It's also no fun being like everyone's team is great.
Everyone's team's good.
that doesn't help anyone.
But when you look at all the teams on paper, I don't have a first round talent. I don't have somebody who was taken in the first. Now I have 4 to 5 guys that are taken
From rounds 2 to
rounds
5,
2 to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it plays out, man.
yeah, so good luck to you. So if anyone wants to find the auction values from this draft, you can just hit the description. They're all in there. Hopefully, if you're just following along, you heard all the prices, so that gives you some sort of standard of what's going on. I would think that if you were just like if me and you and we got 10 of our other buddies do an auction, $200 budget, that I think the high end running backs go for a little bit more, but those quarterbacks go for way more.
Yeah.
That's the biggest discrepancy between when you see quote unquote experts drafts or like analyst drafts versus home drafts is that quarterbacks are like Drew Brees isn't going for $3 in your home auction.
And neither would Matt Ryan. He wouldn't go for $4. Carson Wentz, I think, would be a little bit more.
I'd say add like $5 to $8.
I was going to say that. Patrick Holmes seems like a guy who would go low 20s, $22, $23. Watson probably close to 20, close to 20. Yeah.
That's the biggest discrepancy, which means
to do that.
But which means all those like $7 Marcus Valdez-Scantling is a $2 Marcus Valdez-Scantling, which really does in your home league. If you do wait on the like, you could probably still get Cam for $2 because everyone's like off of Cam. So just get Cam and Josh Allen for $1, and then like that low end wide receiver. You can really go stars and scrubs at that point. Pay up for your guys, pay down for your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th receivers. Like if Robbie Anderson is going for like $8 in this draft, he's going for $4 in your home draft. Yeah. And that's a legitimate wide receiver 3. Yeah. So you might as well spend up on the good guys.
Yeah, good call.
That's what I'm saying here.
All right.
I'm bad at this though, so I can be completely off this.
It's tough when you get in there. You have, things change so quickly.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. Yeah. Like one guy being nominated could set off a run of guys being nominated. Then you're like, do I? Just, I know. Like I said, don't be a coward. It's the best way to play these things.
Spend your money.
Yeah,
don't get going home with it.
Yeah, even with the good exchange rate, it's not worth anything. Chris Meaney, at Chris Meaney on Twitter. At The Athletic, hosting podcasts. Hockey's coming up. Yeah, it's all happening. You can do like a hockey win total show? Can I steal you for that?
Yeah, you can, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I've already looked into some of the totals. There's some crazy ones.
You might have to host that one because I'd be like, hockey? Jeff Courtnall playing for the Canucks? Perfect.
Jeff and Russ. Yeah, no, we're going to have a hockey show at The Athletic. It's actually going to be launching pretty soon, just right after Labor Day.
Cool.
We'll be talking preseason and diving into division previews and all that stuff. So looking forward to it.
Get my man Joe Holka on there with you.
Doing a show with him and
for the footballers?
Jake, the footballers. 3 of us. Looking forward to that too.
Footballers. Not only a good show themselves, they know how to outsource to good people.
Yeah.
Savvy.
Yeah.
Savvy stuff.
They know what they're doing.
They're selling out live shows all over the place.
Yeah. They joined Rich Eisen there a couple weeks ago.
They're a big deal.
They are a big deal.
Love the footballers.
Yeah. Me too. Good for them. Fan of all of them.
When we say like good hangs, the amount of, I think I've seen them now. Like I don't really go to the conferences or anything like that anymore. But the last 3 that I went to, it ended up being us 3 and Brandon, Marianne Lee.
Nice.
Like, and Nando.
Yeah.
Basically 4:30 a.m. closing everything down, just being like,
that seems like a good time.
Me arguing with Mike about the different, like, what sort of compression file to use for a podcast? Like, you're wrong, Mike. It turns out he was right.
Yeah, probably. I remember the first time I joined them, there's this like Mike right away. Is there a fan at all around you? Like he could hear this everything. They're so obviously with their audio, they want it to be top notch, and I don't think there was a fan. Like it was like. Maybe like 5
was
minutes
you
away
breathing
from
very heavily?
Just be nervous as shit.
Well, no need for any more. You're part of the football clan.
That's right.
All right. I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me on Twitter at the PME. Same as Instagram, same as Facebook. Getting the giveaways. All my rankings up on DKPlaybook.com for the upcoming season now. And those winners, they'll be announced on Monday's show. So go back and figure out how to get in the giveaways and boom, enter said giveaways. All right. Pat Mayo, good luck. Fantasy football season this year. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!